spending too much time talking, spending too much time writing, and not enough time experiencing the very thing that I'm writing about or talking about. I'm so obsessed with this finger pointing at the moon rather than the moon itself. So focused on words that point to reality rather than reality itself, and ultimately no words point to reality if you just get caught up in the words, you know. I've been getting high recently, a bit of weed the last few days. I've been coming to the cemetery. I've just been having lots of insights. I just notice more shit on weed and I suffer less. Or when I do suffer on weed, you know, usually it's immense fear. But my awareness seems more aware, and I'm able not to get caught up in the story in which the fear is stemming from. I'm able to see it more clearly for what it is, just a story, just a fictional narrative that isn't based in what's this right now, aliveness, reality. This is it. And I just do things on weed that I wouldn't normally do when sober. Like just then I was just hugging a tree. Usually if I was sober, like, so much conditioning. I mean, like, don't do that. I don't know, man. There's so many insights and I just can't do anything about it. I get high and everything's clear. I see that there's no separate self and that everything is me. That there's no separation between anything. It's all one arising of nature. It is nature. This body and the sounds coming out of my mouth, it's the same timeless aliveness. This eternal, timeless isness, aliveness. That's what I am. Of course, what else could I be, you know? And this happening, I'm a fruit of the earth. This body, you know, like, And yeah, when I'm sober again, you know, like when I'm on weed, because that insight's so clear to me, then it's so much easier for me to let go of the resistance towards anything. You know, why would you resist anything? Resistance only causes you suffering. And to resist anything, you have to anyone who resists anything does not realize what they are, which is everything. This insight is very different from solipsism. Some of the insights I've had some very solipsistic experiences. But this is not I'm not talking about solipsism here. It's a different kind of way of seeing. I don't know what's true, but like I do know that I don't know. But usually when I'm having solipsistic experiences, I would say like, I'm everything. And I would mean like this bubble of consciousness is everything. Just like if you put on a VR headset, none of what's in the game is real. Only you, the player, is real. All the NPCs in it is part of the game program, right? But what I'm talking about here is like it's a less selfish thing, I think. There's it's not like this awareness is coming from my eyes or like projecting out and making this bubble. It's not like I'm wearing a VR headset and I'm here behind the VR headset, behind the game, looking into the game. That is a very solipsistic experience to me, but what I'm talking about here is more like I'm not behind the VR headset looking into the lenses. It's like that's not where I am. I'm not located behind the eyes here in the head. I'm like out in space, out there, everywhere, going in all directions. It's like everything that I see is made of eyeballs. Like as a metaphor, everything that I see is looking back at me. Like everything is made of awareness. It's like there's distance. Before in a solipsistic experience that I have, it would be like I can't remember where I was going with that. But yeah, it feels like that everything's made of awareness. And so yes, there's a perspective here, this viewpoint. The vision is coming from here. Like when I look down, there's always like a body that moves about, but it's like me, if I'm awareness, then I'm everywhere, Yes, there's the visual perspective is here, but me, I, is like everywhere. Because I'm not the visual perspective, That's just another happening of nature, right? And it's like I'm completely plugged into life, like no separation. So yeah, when there's no separation, when you know yourself as everything else, why would there be fear? There may be leftover habitual fear that's lingering on, that has a momentum from your conditioning, but as soon as you wake up to this truth, there's no more momentum. And so yeah, something may trigger you and you may be fearful, but you just quickly see that that's just old karma running off, If you stop reacting to a reaction, it doesn't have its power anymore. You cut the power source off from it. It doesn't have the energy to maintain. If you stop reacting to reactions, if you stop reacting to triggers, to being triggered, let it happen and love it as yourself, as your true self, as reality. I just realized, like, when I'm sober, I'm so selfish. I'm so focused on this story of my life, so focused on this body and what life can do for me. And yeah, this kind of stuff, you know, just, yeah, it's hard, you know, because, yeah, I don't know. There's pain, there's hurt here, you know. I think that's why we focus on ourselves so much, is because there's a tremendous amount of suffering and pain and hurt within us that we have to protect ourselves from being hurt again, you know. We don't want to be hurt again, so we protect ourselves. And we're so focused on ourselves because we don't want to be hurt, so we've put so much energy on protecting ourselves. But this self that we're protecting is an identity that isn't who we really are. And that's the story in which you wake up out from. That's the me that you wake up from. This dream of separation, this dream of my life. That's what you wake up from. Into, yeah, I don't know. And it's so compelling though, this story of my life, this story of me, it's so compelling that we get sucked into it and just wholeheartedly believe it. And we, you know, most people for their whole life are just operating in this story, thinking that it's real. And there are times where I feel like I break out of that story, but then, you know, I'm trapped back in it again, and forgetting that I'm even trapped back in it. You know, there's no hope in escaping prison if you don't know you're in prison. So anyway, I'm gonna stop videoing. There's just some insights I've had whilst high. My brain seems to work better when I'm high in a lot of ways. Of course, it has its downsides too, like the sluggishness that you can get, the laziness that you get, you know. There's pros and cons for everything, you know. But yeah, we just, yeah. I don't want to rely on this, you know. But it's hard not to when it's just makes you see a lot more clearer, you know. And so yeah, they're just my thoughts, you know. Things change. Anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.